guitarists, welcome. You're going to be a musical genius after this lesson, I guarantee it. I was asked by someone, Paul, g'day, if I could go through how I approach my playing as far as getting the smooth fingerings and to be able to move them quickly and through the scales and all that sort of thing. First thing, speed comes through practicing, and practicing slow is the best way to get fast. When I first started playing scales, I just practiced them up and down and up and down and up and down, and that gets very boring very quickly. I did actually go through some of this in a funk improvisation video I did, but I will go into it on a more of a beginner level. So I'll get straight into it. The first thing that I learnt for scales was the pentatonic scale, which we'll do in A. And I was playing them with down and up alternate picking. Then I learnt the blues scale, which is one extra note. And that was the first two scales I learned. I think of them really as one scale because it's just one extra note in the blues scale. So what I was told to do first off is just to play the scale up and down. Which I did over and over and over again, and it did get a little bit boring because it wasn't musical to me. So what I would suggest is once you can play the scale up and down from memory and you're comfortable with it, you're not tripping over strings with your picking hand and playing buzzy, horrible notes. Once you can play it up and down, I don't think you need to practice playing it up and down to get faster and faster and faster. It helps obviously, but there's other things I think that are more musical. So practicing your scale with more of a rhythmical approach. So you can think of a rhythm. If I went da 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 da, play the scale. Whatever, you just pick something that's a phrase, a rhythmical phrase, and it can be a short one. Short is good to start with if you're a very beginner. Then the more comfortable you get, change it up. So maybe da 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 da. One of the great things about this is it's really testing your picking hand as well, because the phrasing is determining how you're picking. It's not just down up like that in a consistent style. So this was really helpful for me, and then the more I got into it, I started to change the rhythm so that I was, instead of just planning a rhythm in the beginning and then playing it the whole way through the scale, I would sing the rhythm in my head and play it at the same time, and therefore I would change the rhythm. Once I'd finished the first rhythm in my head, I would make up a new one. So I might go da 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 da, something like that. So I'm thinking it in my head. I'll play it and sing it what I'm doing. This is my process in pretty much everything. Okay. Da 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 da, something like that. So when I'm soloing, I'm not singing. I'm not a singer. I don't want to scare you with my voice. But I do it in my head. I'm always singing the rhythms that I'm playing if I'm playing rhythm guitar, but I'm more so when I'm playing a solo, I'm thinking rhythm, 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 rhythm. Okay, so that's one part to begin your soloing. Now, something about technique is your thumb position. If you can keep your thumb down a little bit, or a lot, it depends on what you're playing. I find there's techniques that I had another lesson for Jimi Hendrix sort of style. We put our thumb over the top and you know, Red Hot Chili Peppers funky guitar, Jimi Hendrix, all of that, John Mayer stuff. That's with the thumb over the top most of the time, I think, from what I've seen on the videos. But I suggest you start with your thumb down the bottom, oh sorry, in the middle. If you can see that, it's in the middle of the neck, roughly. And if I'm holding one finger per fret, it's behind my second finger. The reason for this is if you have your thumb over the top, your hand is touching the back of the neck. And if I try and play, my scales don't come out very well. Also, if I play with my thumb here, I can only just get to that fret. If I play with my thumb right down the bottom on the high string, I can just get to the 12th fret. I would never play that in a solo, I don't think, unless I was up here maybe. Even then, I don't know. But the idea is you can play cleanly and with a better technique. Whoa, what's that? That's what I meant to do. So yeah, better stretching, more comfortable. Eventually, sometimes it feels a bit strange, especially if you have started to play the guitar with your thumb over the top. So, get that thumb down. Later on, sure, you're playing Hendrix stuff, rock on, bring the thumb over the top, but it's easier once you've practiced proper technique, it's easier to do the thumb over the top later on, rather than starting with the thumb over the top, then struggling to get the thumb down into a better position. Okay, so we've got thumb, we've done the scale, or the blues and the pentatonic scale. Pull-offs, hammer-ons. Very awesome little techniques to know. The hammer-on is literally hammering on a finger to the next note you're going to play on the same string. Actually, it doesn't have to be on the same string. You can hammer on to a string you haven't even played, like that. You can just hammer anywhere, really. But the idea, the technique, is to whack the finger down onto the fret. Best place to play frets is right behind it. If you play too far back, you get that horrible buzzy noise. To play a perfect note, it might look like my finger is actually over the top of the fret. It kind of is, but the string is actually just pushing down behind the fret. And sorry, my finger is pushing down just behind the fret on the string, so you will get a lot cleaner notes. You can practice that exercise just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Even start up here, because it's a bit easier to play up here because the frets are closer. We naturally don't have a big hand span, but after a few months you just work your way down a couple of frets, or 1 or 2 frets at a time. Take your time. After 6 months or 12 months or more, you might be able to play comfortably down here. Okay, so back to the hammer-ons and the pull-offs. What we can do with the pentatonic scale, we're going to play the first note and hammer on the second note. Now when you get to the top, we do the reverse. We play the higher note, we pull away. So when you're pulling away, the string is being caught in the flesh of the finger, and you're using this little top bit of flesh to pluck the string with your left hand. Now this makes for a lot smoother playing. Alright, so once you've done your hammer-ons and pull-offs, you can mix them up, do hammer-on, pull-off, hammer-on, or a trill, which is the same hammer-on, pull-off over and over. Alright, so I'll do a few more exercises.